God, I am beat. What to watch? I hear The Weeknd's got a new show with Sam Levinson. Might check that out. I like Euphoria. Maybe a bit off-kilter at times, but just some good messaging in there. Yeah. I guess I'll give this a watch. The Idol. What did I just watch?
That's right. The time has finally come for me to talk about one of the most controversial shows to come out of the Lord's year, 2023. By God, do I need to pray after watching that show? I watched it. All 5 episodes of Sam Levinson's, you may know him as the creator of Euphoria, and Abel the Weeknd Tesfayer's show. The show from their self-proclaimed thick and twisted minds. I am going to try to cover everything about this show. So sit back and relax as I tell you why you shouldn't like this show. That was a joke, Abel.
The Media Firestorm.
The absolute biggest shit that was taken on the show was taken by the Rolling Stone. A very long and detailed expose was published on March 1st of this year, almost 3 months exactly to the show's premiere date on June 4th, 2023. I'll link it down below for all of you. I highly recommend you actually read through all of it. But I just want to note a few things from this article so you all have background on the making of the show. All alleged, by the way. Don't come for me. Most of you have probably heard this story by now because it has been talked out the ass online, so I will try to make it as brief as I possibly can. The first public inkling of trouble came last April when director Amy Seimetz, really hope I'm saying that right, of the Girlfriend Experience and She Dies Tomorrow suddenly exited with roughly 80% of the 6-episode series finished. HBO addressed the news by confirming The Idol was set to have a major creative overhaul and would be adjusting the cast and crew. There was little explanation for the shakeup, except for reports, alleged by the way, that Tesfaye, The Weeknd, who is co-creator, felt the show was heading too much in a, quote, female perspective, end quote. The Weeknd's alleged words here are one of the first things that people got extremely concerned about, as if we didn't already have a lack of a female perspective in Hollywood. Abel here allegedly thinks that it was simply too much for his male brain. A show about a woman where she goes through womanly things? Now, what the fuck is that all about? In interviews with 13 members of the show's cast and crew, Rolling Stone has learned the drastic delay was caused by Levinson taking over as director and scrapping the nearly finished 54 to 75 million project to rewrite and reshoot the entire thing. With Seimetz out of the picture, HBO handed the reins to Levinson, only to have him weaken the show's overarching message, many sources say, by dialing up the disturbing sexual content and nudity to match, and even surpass, that of his most successful show. Now there is our second red flag. Personally, I already found Euphoria to be overly gratuitous at times when it came to the sexual content in it. I want to clarify, I'm not a prude. I don't care if there's boobies on screen. That's not the problem here. In fact, I think sex and nudity can be very important at times during storytelling. Let us be reminded of what gratuitous means. There comes a point where the nudity you're adding in your show or your movie or whatever, it's just there just to be there. Roping in a bit of Euphoria, I want to add these statements that Sydney Sweeney made about the show. You've probably heard about these. I'm going to read why she says they were misconstrued. In a January interview with The Independent, Sweeney told the publication, "There are moments where Cassie is supposed to be shirtless, and I would tell Sam, I don't really think that's necessary here." He was like, "Okay, we don't need it. I never felt like Sam has pushed it on me or was trying to get a nude scene into an HBO show. When I didn't want to do it, he didn't make me." While many publications took that as Sweeney asking for some of her characters' quote-unquote unnecessary topless scenes to be cut from the show, the 24-year-old actress told Teen Vogue that that wasn't the case. What Sweeney was trying to get across, rather, was how Levinson pays attention to boundaries. It was more how respectful Sam is and how incredible of a director he is, that he would never make me do something I didn't feel comfortable with, she continued. I think it's important to the storyline and the character, Sweeney stressed. There's a purpose to what the character is going through. That's the character. We all get naked in real life, true. We show this character's life and what they're going through. Cassie's body is a different form of communication for her. Watching the show, I still felt like Cassie was getting boned way too often. Just way too often. I understand she's like very hypersexual in the show, but it's like, I don't need to see her getting boned every single episode. You know? It's just meat slapping every episode. There's really, like, there are honestly, unless it is extremely integral to the storyline, there's honestly not many reasons to watch people have sex unless you're trying to get off to it. Like, there just isn't. I don't want to sit down and watch a TV show and watch people fuck. I don't want to sit there eating my dessert after I just ate dinner. I go to sit down in the living room, and then I gotta watch some girl get pounded from the back. Why? I say this to say that Sam Levinson, generally, it seems like, has a good relationship with his female actors, which is important to note because I see people dumping on the show constantly and talking about how Lily Rose Depp seemed very objectified. She has also spoken out about the sex scenes in The Idol. In a statement provided to the Rolling Stone, Depp called Levinson the best actor she's ever worked with, saying she has never felt more supported or respected in a creative space. My input and opinions more valued.
Lily Rose Depp also added these comments that I'd like to read to all of you. She said, "We know that we're making something provocative, and we are not shying away from that. That's something I knew I was setting out to do from the beginning. I was never interested in making something puritanical. It's okay if the show isn't for everyone, that's fine. I think all the best art is polarizing." She then went on to say, "So when it comes to the nudity and the risque nature of the role, that to me was really intentional. That was really important to me and something that I was excited about doing. I'm not scared of it. I think we live in a highly sexualized world. I think that's an interesting thing to explore."
She can feel comfortable with the director, but also we can watch it as an outsider, as an audience, and feel like her scenes are way overly gratuitous. I think both of those can be at the same time. So I think it's great that she felt comfortable, but again, can we still judge the show and feel that it is too much? Yes, of course. There were also some crew members that gave positive statements to the Rolling Stone about the making of The Idol. So it's not just, wow, Sam Levinson, he allegedly did this, and he wasn't there, and he didn't give any script, and he was awful, blah, 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 blah. There's also other people who gave positive remarks to Rolling Stone, so it's not just, he sucks. All this to say, let's not forget about this. And of course, Barbie Ferreira's departure from the show. Euphoria has definitely had its fair share of controversy. But, you know, how could it get worse than that? Euphoria. Well, what I signed up for was a dark satire of fame and the fame model in the 21st century, one production member explains. The things that we subject our talent and stars to, the forces that put people in the spotlight, and how they can be manipulated in the post-Trump world. However they add, it went from satire to the thing it was satirizing. For me, watching it, I just felt like at every possible moment her boobs were out. I understand, you know, a lot of people sleep topless. It's a normal thing to do. Me sleeping without my shirt on, does that really add anything to my life? No, it doesn't. Does it add anything to my life story? No. Like, if someone was making a biopic about my life, boy, would that be interesting. I wouldn't want them to put random scenes where I'm getting out of my bed naked. Because, like, what is that adding to my life? Except maybe the fact that Jocelyn's a little hypersexual in the show. Another person said it was like any fantasy that any toxic man would have in the show. And then the woman comes back for more because it makes her music better. Lily Rose Depp will let The Weeknd's character, Tedros, do anything to her. And I don't know why I need to see a man do anything to a woman unless I'm trying to get off to it. The show, though, it could have been worse than what we were given. A scene that did not end up being filmed would have shown Lily Rose Depp's character being told to carry an egg in her vagina. If it broke, The Weeknd's character refused to, quote-unquote, her, leading to her begging to be because she believes it is the cause of her success. Don't we all wish we could have seen that? Wouldn't the show have been a lot better if we saw that? Come on. Guys, I want to clarify that I like dark shit. Something I truly stand by as someone who is an enjoyer of that genre of things, dark, messed up stuff. I really stand by the fact that some things simply just don't need to be made. You know, not only that, but like if it's gonna be messed up, you need to have a strong plot and message that people can pick up on. A message that goes against the horrible stuff that you are showing. That says, this, what's happening right now, this is wrong. But I feel like that has not happened in the show so far. One final thing I want to point out from this article is this. A report from April blamed the show's overhaul on Tesfaye, who was reportedly unhappy that the show is focusing too much on Depp's character. The female perspective. A source with knowledge seconds that Tesfaye was the reason behind the shakeup. wanting to tone down the cult aspect of the storyline and pivot to something else entirely, dropping the quote-unquote feminist lens through which the show was being told as a result. It was like The Weeknd wanted one show that was all about him. Sam was on board with that. It's almost like Sam Levinson would be really good at directing people actually having sex. Maybe he should... Well, it's not really exactly branching out. After this article was released, The Weeknd actually posted a response on Twitter, which reads, at Rolling Stone, did we upset you? With a clip of the show in which Depp and The Weeknd's characters Jocelyn and Tedros, respectively, call the Rolling Stone irrelevant. And he subsequently got slammed for this lackluster response. That pretty much covers most of the controversy leading up to the show. Now, I think it's time I give you all my unabashed opinions on The Idol.
The good, the bad, and the very ugly.
I want to start this off by saying I think it's great that The Weeknd is branching out. He is a fantastic musical artist. He's one of my favorite artists of all time. That's why it's crazy he's acting like this. But hey, I like that he's branching out and trying to create something else. That's hard to do, and I give him credit for that. First of all, the music is great. Further reason why he should maybe just stick to music. Fill the Void and Take Me Back I have listened to way too many times. When the bass hits in Fill the Void? Bruh, oh my god! I got the bass turned up all the way up in my car. Boom! You know? Boom. Take Me Back? Yo, put a synth in anything, a synthesizer in any song, I will listen to it. Although I like them, I cannot remove the images from my head that I saw while they were playing the show. Second of all, the cinematography is gorgeous. And I really, really mean that. I love directing. I'm a wannabe director. I really, really take cinematography to heart. If I'm watching a TV show or a movie and it looks like ass, I'm probably not going to watch it, and it's probably going to drastically reduce my feelings toward it. Third of all, besides Abel, the acting is actually great and really believable. I think Lily Rose Depp did a fantastic job with what she was given, and I actually loved her acting during the show. Like, truly loved it. I think she's fantastic, and I hope I see her in more roles that are not quite like this show. I want to preface this by saying, during the recording of this, right now, this current moment, the final episode has not yet been released. It is being released 2 days from now on Sunday. I will be discussing it at length after this section of this video. I'm going to give a brief synopsis on each of the episodes because your ear has probably been talked off at this point about these episodes. It's in outer space. It has left the fucking universe we are in right now because people have not shut up about like the first 2 episodes. I'm just going to point out some important highlights and what specifically made me dislike the show, what stood out to me. I also filmed some of my reactions while I was watching it, so you get to see me want to die.
I'm opening up this baby wide open. Yeah.
So episode 1, first thing we start off, Lily Rose Depp is getting photographed, and she wants to get her bazongas out. They have not been giving permission to photograph them, though. There's an intimacy coordinator on set who says that it has not been, that he does not have permission for her to be photographed with her boobs out. But Lily Rose Depp doesn't like the intimacy coordinator. And we go through like this 15-minute beginning of the show where it's just, she hates the intimacy coordinator, and they lock him in the closet. I just think that's a weird message to open up the series with, since the show is very, very sexual. There's this photograph that is leaked of Lily Rose Depp with her with stuff on her face. And it's like this big thing, big hullabaloo. They don't want her to find out about it because she just recently had a mental breakdown because her mom died and everything. She has been going through a lot. And, you know, she's eventually finds out about the photo, and they show the photo to her. And I don't know why they had to show the photo, right? We get the picture. We see her face. I'm sure everyone, whether they want to or not, is picturing her face with cum on it, okay? I don't know why it was necessary to show her with jizz on her face. So she's like really being hinted at throughout this episode that she is mentally ill. So they run through her dance sequence like 3 times, literally 3 times. She can't do it. Her need for perfectionism, and also the fact that she's so exhausted and tired and she can't do the dance sequence, and she's being forced by her company to release music even though her fucking mom died. Like, those are all very important themes, but they're so overshadowed by the sexuality in this show. It just is. Like, when I was watching this episode, it feels like one of those Euphoria episodes with no substance. Like the one where it was like this really, really artsy look on Sydney Sweeney, and like, when she like freaks out at the hot tub, but you get all those weird scenes. Like they're dancing, listening to songs. It's like, okay, this added nothing to the storyline of the show, but okay. I said, why does have that hairstyle? Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I think they're trying to make him seem like this greasy, gross guy. Well, it's definitely working, that's for sure. Amogus. So she meets Abel, his character's name is Tedros, at the club. You know, there's another part in the first episode where her friend Leia points out that Tedros comes across as very rapey, and she says, I like that. It feels like very much so like a man wrote the show. Like, I'm not saying you can't write about certain stuff if you're a certain race or gender or sexuality, whatever, but a lot of times men, they just simply cannot do it because they don't have a female perspective. And I feel like this is leading up to her asking for it, which, like, the scene that was cut out, clearly that's the direction the show was going, kind of still is going in, where she's super hypersexual and she's asking to be taken advantage of. At the end of the show, there's this very, very popular scene you've probably heard everyone talk about, where The Weeknd does, I can't remember, I think it's called breath play. I'm not big in the BDSM community, I'm not sure. Basically puts something over her head. I think it's like her robe. Gets her to the point where she cannot breathe anymore. And right before she's about to pass out, he cuts a hole in her mouth and he says, now you can sing. Again, it's like, it's very male perspective. It's very, I want to be able to take advantage of a woman and have her like it. Episode 2, I write in the beginning of the episode, I wish it was taking the female perspective. This would be more interesting if it wasn't about her getting boned and more about her struggles in life and music. Let's go to her music video shoot. Now this is by far the most interesting scene, I think, out of the entire series. She's running through this music video shoot over and over and over again. And she comes there late because they have to cover up cuts on her legs, which I believe were given to her by Tedros' character. And then she runs through it over and over and over again. It's clear that the dancers are exhausted. The director is exhausted. No one really wants to deal with Jocelyn because she's so like focused on this perfectionism. And it's at this point where we get introduced to the fact that Jenny from Blackpink, I can't remember her name in the show, could quite possibly be taking Jocelyn's role in this label. Because Jocelyn just isn't cutting it anymore. Her mom died, and if her mom dies, fucking get over it. Watching her, she's in pain. Her feet are fucked up from doing this in heels over and over again. At one point, she calls out for her mom because she's so exhausted. And she goes home, she's really upset that she could not do the music video shoot. And I feel like that is the most we've ever gotten out of her character from this whole show. Then they get home, and it just turns into this weird sex thing. I don't even remember most of what happened in the second half of the episode. Most of the episode was the music video shoot. There's like this, oh my god, it's like almost 3 minutes of a sex scene with Tedros and Jocelyn, and it's uncomfortable. You might have seen clips of it on Twitter. I understand it seems like they are trying to frame Tedros as someone who is not attractive, and it's supposed to be uncomfortable to watch him doing this to her. I acknowledge that. It's definitely uncomfortable to watch him tell her to, rub her tiny, tight little P word, right? It's uncomfortable. It really is. It's the most uncomfortable sex scene I've ever had the pleasure of watching. Why did it have to go on for 2 minutes? Why is that necessary? Episode 3, they go shopping. Already beginning of the episode, he is eating her out in the back of the car as they're driving. Can anyone say safety hazard? They go to the store, she's trying on clothes, and then he gets upset because this one guy is looking at her while she's trying on clothes. And he tries to do this scene where he's like really intimidating, but it's like the least intimidating guy you've ever seen. And like if you want to play a dark and gritty character, you got to be a dark and gritty person, and The Weeknd is just not giving that. It's just like, I think if he came out to my face and said, let me get you looking at her one more time, fucking curb stop you, man. I'd just be like, yo. They go back home. At one point, this is a very important point in the show, in my opinion. They are hanging out with like Tedros's sex cult people. Jocelyn starts this conversation and asks the one guy, I forget his name, he's like the dark-skinned guy in the show. She asks him like, so you guys just aren't allowed to say no? And they say, yeah, we can't say no. They say that if you say no, you are possibly depriving yourself of, like, experiences in life. In the last episode, there was actually a point where Tedros is, like, shocking this guy, got a choke collar on the guy, and he's shocking him as he's performing for these women. It's, like, clearly, like, a weird sex cult thing. And they don't push back on this. Like, not being able to say no. They don't push back on it. They just keep leaning into it. So then they have this long dinner scene. Jocelyn is, like, forced to tell everyone at the table that her mom abused her by hitting her with a hairbrush in a lot of different places to get her to write good music. But at the end of the show, Tedros takes a hairbrush and beats her with it in front of her friends to get her to write good music. So they're recording music, they're recording Fill the Void. This is the scene I couldn't get out of my head when I listened to the song now. And he just starts, like, I thought he was just going to stand behind her and, like, breathe on her to get her to, like, feel, like, sexy when she's recording the song. But no, like, he starts really touching her and stuff in front of everyone, like, in front of the producer, and, like, everyone's in the room. I think they were all high at this point. So no surprise that someone who just snorted a line of cocaine is like, yeah, do that in front of me right now, you know? At one point, he's following Troye Sivan's character around. Jocelyn, like, gets payback at him because he wasn't, like, there for her or whatever when she was being abused. And she lets Tedros shock him with a shock collar over and over and over again until Troye Sivan admits to lying. At one point, he, like, fires Jocelyn's chef because he was, like, touching her and stuff, like, looking at her stomach and stuff. At the end of the show, Jocelyn has sex with her ex-boyfriend. I propose the question again. Why did I need to see a almost 3-minute long sex scene of her and this guy? Because you could allude to it. You could even show one moment where they're stripping down or one moment where they're doing the do.
Or just skip through all of it. I'm not doing it again. I'm just not.
Why? Why? It's just like my question when I'm watching this show is just why? Why?
The finale.
So The Idol was actually supposed to be 6 episodes long, but to everyone's shock, finally my prayers were answered. The first season would end after the 5th episode. The Idol is concluding its controversial first and possibly last season a week earlier than expected. The show's 5th episode, which will air Sunday, July 2nd, is being billed as its season finale despite earlier reports that the season would include 6 episodes. Is it wrapping earlier than expected due to some behind-scenes drama? Not quite. According to TV Line, co-creator and Euphoria boss Sam Levinson just didn't need that much time to finish up the story. How? Earlier this month, Page Six reported that The Idol's future was up in the air amid controversy, but representatives from HBO were quick to shut down those rumors, stating on Twitter, it is being misrepresented that the decision on a second season of The Idol has been determined. It has not, and we look forward to sharing the next episode with you Sunday night. Well, looks like I'm gonna have to pray a lot more. Anyway, here's future me to tell you about the final episode.
What was the point of all of that? I honestly failed to see what the point of the show was. The only thing I can maybe think that it's about is that pop stars do awful things for fame. That's the most I can take out of it. Other than that, I failed to see the point of the show. I'll give you a really, really quick summary of what happened in the finale. Jocelyn was, like, recording songs, and she's clearly, like, her and Tedros' relationship is estranged. She doesn't want to be with him anymore. And she found out that he was using her to get, like, this big production gig with her and stuff, etc., etc. Found out he was in jail, has a different name, whatever. And then there's this really fucking long sequence where all of these people in Tedros' sex cult are, like, performing songs for Jocelyn's, like, the dude who works at the record label who signed Jocelyn. They're, like, performing for him and Nikki, and it's really bizarre, this weird sex acts that they're doing, and then Jocelyn gives, like, a crazy lap dance to her signer dude, corporate dude, I don't fucking know who he is. And then it is revealed that Tedros somehow, I don't even know how this could have worked, he, like, had someone falsely accuse Jocelyn's ex
as of because he had sex with Jocelyn in the last episode, and he didn't like that, so he falsely accused someone of. Like, I mean, that's what I do when someone does something I don't like, right? Don't we all? They like Jocelyn's stuff, so they ended up giving her back her tour, and they just completely tossed Jenny from Blackpink. Diane is her name in the show. They're just like, fuck you. We're not gonna give you this song anymore, because Jocelyn's our girl. She's our it girl, not you. And then at the end of the show, she ends up taking him back. He gets an artist pass, and he, like, shows up at the tour and is there for the concert, and she brings him out on stage at the end of the show and stuff. Really bizarre. But the main thing that happened in this episode is it's revealed at the end when Tedros comes to visit her before the concert, that she actually lied about her mom beating her with her hairbrush. So that's where I'm getting the theme that maybe people will do anything for fame and power and stuff. I think that's where they're going with this, because she lied about her mom fucking abusing her. So she manipulated not only the viewers of the show, but the people in the show to think that her mom abused her, so that she could get The Weeknd to do, like, this weird BDSM thing with her, so that she could, like, write good music. I don't know what that was all about. I failed to see what the point of the show was. Like, the world would have been fine without the show. What did this add to our lives? I just don't get it, and maybe I don't see the true artistic genius. Ugh. I don't think that's it. I just think that there's not much substance to the show. It's just weird sex scenes. It's basically a porno at certain points, with a half-assed plot that doesn't really make much sense. They, obviously said when the show was going to premiere, they're like, this is going to be really sexual, this is going to be this and that and that. And I'll give them that. Like, they said what the show was going to be, and people didn't like it. People didn't like it because it just didn't feel like it was anything. Now, it's not even just the sex scenes. Does it feel like porn? Does it feel like weird male fantasy? Yes, it does. The most deplorable thing about the show is that it just doesn't make any fucking sense. To me, like, I just don't get it. If you like this show, I'm not going to be a Twitter warrior or whatever. I'm not going to be mad at you for liking the show. I could see why some people would actually like the show. I don't get it. I don't like seeing sex scenes like that. I just don't get it. I feel like the sex scenes at times can be a little problematic. I hate that word. Solely because they just are displaying this weird power dynamic thing that, like, is super unhealthy and whatever. And again, like, it's just not pushed back on, but I digress. I can see why you would like the show. If you did like the show, like, I'm not going to be aggressive with you in the comments. Don't worry about it. If you like the show, please tell me why, because I don't get it. I don't like it. I think the vast majority of people didn't like it. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. I guess the plot twist at the end was kind of cool. Other than that, like, it was just a lot of, I'd be lying if I said I enjoyed watching the show. I don't get it.
Toddlers, Tantrums, and The Weeknd.
Like most people would be when their work from their sick and twisted mind actually has people upset and feeling a bit sick. Bruh. The Weeknd has been freaking out online for people taking shit after shit on his show. Listen, I get it. I think any creator can. You make something, you put your heart and soul into something, and people hate it, despise it. It sucks. But what's weird to me is how upset he is. I'm sure he's been criticized for his music. He's literally one of the most popular artists in the world. But he can't take some constructive criticism on this show. Although he's not even verified on Twitter anymore. If you look at any of his tweets regarding the show, it is filled with blue checkers slurping on his peen. Even though the overwhelming response to the show is negative. From beefing with Oreo cookies to calling out haters, here's 2 tweets of his that I think are worth discussing. Someone says, trying to meme the show to be good now. Yikes. He says, nope, people who hate it decided a long time ago. It's fine. If you hate it, don't watch it and let the fans enjoy. Simple. So that's him trying to grasp at the few people, please like my show. I know I have a few people who really love me. This one is very, very popular. 12 million views. Someone says, who has a thread or article on why the idol is bad? Please, I need it. He quote retweets that and says, someone hurry, please tell me why I hate something everyone is telling me to hate. Hurry before I can come up with my own opinion. Now, I do see his point here. I do not like it when people do that, when people will speak on something without ever reading or watching, consuming, whatever the hell it is. But here's the thing. People have every right to dislike something based off of circumstantial evidence. based on what they were hearing it described as, in this case, as a male fantasy. I still have the right to not want to read or watch or play a game, whatever, because of what I've heard from it, because of reviews. Like, that's a pretty normal thing I think most people do, is they don't watch or buy or whatever something if the reviews are bad, if people don't like it. That's a pretty normal human thing to do. So I don't understand why he is so defensive over it. There are so many reasons to dislike this show. Why can't he just accept it, maybe grow from it, hopefully, and just move on?
Public opinion.
Now, while I personally did enjoy certain moments of the show, the incessant sex and weird unnecessary moments ruined my possible liking of the show. But finally, I just want to give you all some food for thought and read some other people's comments on The Idol.
I am not getting any of my opinions from people on Twitter. I'm sorry, but I cannot take a lot of people on Twitter seriously. So I'll give you the user scores on IMDb and Metacritic, and then read some YouTube comments for all of you. The user scores on IMDb, as of this moment, are bad. This is for the final episode. The entire series, I believe, has a total of 5 out of 10. The final episode, however, is vast majority of people disliked it, and there was also a big chunk of people who gave it a 10 out of 10. I don't think anyone in the right mind is giving the show a 10 out of 10 unless you guys are lying. Just being honest. Like, if we're being generous, 5. The Idol on Metacritic has a critic score of 27 and a user score of 2. So not good. You can go read the critics' takes. I'm not going to.
I got these comments off of some YouTube videos I watched, so I'm going to link all those videos down below so you can check them out for some different outlooks on the show. The thing that bothers me is the idea that Jocelyn enjoys the abuse that is being done to her. And while themes like this should be explored, agree, this is done in the worst way possible, where it is romanticized the abuse instead of villainizing it. Incredibly harmful and gouache, in my opinion. Agree. I never see proper communication or consent when BDSM is represented in media. In a show like this, where although dark, it's meant to be sexy and tantalizing, I find it really worrying. I agree. He's supposed to come across as abusive, manipulative, and gross. But I think there could be a lot of people who watch the show and who could see this and be like, oh, okay, so this is what BDSM is like. This is what it's like to be sexually aroused by being hit by someone or being tortured by someone. And again, the show does not push back on it. Really, someone in the BDSM community needs to talk about what an outdated, backwards representation of SM and power dynamic relationships this is. Not with the old stereotype all over again that women are into rough sex or SM are into it because of childhood trauma. Let's be real. Even if the show is 18+, there is going to be a wave of young people watching this that are going to think that one can just assume that women enjoy to be treated this way, with no discussion of boundaries whatsoever. It's just an old, rusty BDSM cliche as old as time, and The Weeknd couldn't come across a dom even if he took 20 years at acting lessons. One more comment I have here is, this is the most frustrating part because The Idol could have been so interesting. Amy Simtez wanted the show to be a series that reflected the sexual exploitation and objectification of women. She wanted it to be about a woman's experience in the music industry and all the shady stuff that happens. But when she left Sam Levinson, turned it into another show that contributed to the shady stuff in real life. He literally subjected the cast and crew to everything that Amy Simtez wanted to expose as being harmful. This whole situation is so ridiculous. I can't even believe this shit is real. It would be funny if it wasn't so disgusting. I do think there are some strong parts of the show. I do. I think there, again, I'd give it like 5 out of 10. I really don't think it's as dog shit as some people are making it out to seem. Do I think that there are huge, huge problems with it that shouldn't have been added into the show and stuff? Yes, of course. Hate and love on the same side of the coin. On the two sides of the same coin, you know what I'm saying? I understand wanting to make dark and gritty stuff. I like making dark and messed up stuff. But I don't think this was the way to do it. That is how I feel about the show. And that is going to be the end of this video. I really, really hope you all enjoyed this video. Seriously, comment down below. If you watched the show, let me know what you thought about it. If you didn't watch the show, unlike Abel, I would also like to hear your opinions on just the stuff surrounding the show, what you thought about it. If you watched it, again, if you didn't watch it, still, let me know your opinion. Let me know what you thought about this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like me, you can subscribe. I post comedy and commentary videos every Sunday at 12 p.m. So if that sounds like your thing, make sure to subscribe and turn your notification bell so you know when I post a video. This is it for me. Wow, that sounded really dark. This is it for me. I'm gonna leave it off here. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope I see you all in the next one. Bye.